Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you a build guide for the Swarmkeeper Ranger in Baldur's Gate 3's patch 8. This is in the stress test, but this is cool. It allows us to summon in a swarm which can do piercing, lightning, or psychic damage. On top of this, it can blind, shock, or push the enemy away. We can also use our swarm to teleport us around and give us a boost to our armor class. We also get a boost to our hunter's mark, and I'll be showing you all the best ways to make the most out of this class. So we're going to start off with the Ranger. For the favorite enemy, I like the bounty hunter here, giving us proficiency in investigation, but whenever we hit a target with ensnaring strike, they have disadvantage on their saving throw, which means we're going to hit it much more likely. Now, we also want to choose a natural explorer. The beast tamer is good early game because the raven can apply blind to the targets, which can be very effective, but wasteland wanderer fire is going to be one of the most common damage types you'll face throughout the game, and getting resistance to it means you take half damage, so we're going with that. For our ability scores, I think it's best to go 10 strength, 16 dexterity, 14 constitution, 8 intelligence, 16 wisdom, and 10 charisma. Now, there's a lot of tricks up our sleeve. This is a pretty strong version of the Ranger, so I'll be breaking down all the gear choices as well as combat to show you how to make the most out of this. So, at level 2 here, we get to choose our spells. So with this, we're going to go with obviously the ensnaring strike because we set up to be able to get a boost from it. Long strider is also quite nice to increase our movement speed. We want Hunter's Mark though. This is going to be a thing that we can get a huge boost to at our next level, so we're going to take that. But Hail of Thorns is also a good choice. For our fighting style, archery is really good for the +2 to range attack rolls. Doesn't increase the damage, but the attack rolls will be increased. However, +1 armor class is always going to be the best choice here. Dueling is also kind of good too if you're going to want to use a shield, but defense for the +1 armor class just means we're getting hit less. So it's all about the resources in Baldur's Gate 3. Now level 3, this is when we get to choose the Swarmkeeper, which gives us a gathered swarm. It also gives us the praise scent. Your swarm deals additional damage to creatures marked by your hunter's mark, which we're going to apply. And we also get the mage hand and fairy fire cantrips, and we get to choose a spell here too, so we'll go with the Hail of Thorns, but fog cloud can also be quite nice. And for our gather swarms, the Legion of Bees will deal piercing damage and push the enemy away from us. The cloud of jellyfish will do lightning damage and shock the target. The flurry of moths will do psychic damage and blind the target. I think this one is actually the best. If we have the ballast armor like we have equipped, the Legion of Bees damage will be doubled as well. Also, if there's create water, the lightning will be doubled, but also the resident stone can double the psychic damage. So all 3 damage types can be doubled, which is actually pretty exciting. The flurry of moths will be the easiest to double though. The resident stone is very effective here. Now level 4, we get to choose our feat, and you can change the swarm at any time, so if you want to switch things up as you get to later levels, you can go ahead and do that. We're going to go with an ability score improvement to take up our dexterity to 18. This is going to increase our armor class, initiative, and attack rolls, so very effective. At level 5, we get our extra attack and subclass feature. We get the spell web, which covers an area with a thick flammable webbing that slows creatures down and possibly webs them for 10 turns. Requires concentration. And for our spell that we'll be selecting, we get level 2 spells. Something like Spike Growth is going to be a little bit better because this does damage over whenever they move, and it can slow them down. Pass Without Trace if you really want to go stealthy, but Spike Growth is probably going to be the best choice, or Fog Cloud too. Fog Cloud's not bad because this can be something we can hide out in, and we're going to roll with that. You can swap out spells at any time if you find you want something a little different. And at level 6, we get to choose another favorite enemy. Ranger Knight to get proficiency in heavy armor can be good. We're high in dexterity, so it's actually going to be better for us to use medium armor, but just the option alone is nice for the mid game. And for our Wasteland Wanderer, cold damage or poison damage, we encounter a good amount of both in the Act 2, so we'll go with poison there because it's a little bit more common. At level 7, we get the subclass feature. We get another Writhing Current resource, and we have the Writhing Tide, so you can condense part of your swarm into a focused mass that lifts you up, granting you a flying speed of 3 meters and protecting you from surface effects. So whenever you see the ice forming around you, it's going to be a nice way to deal with that. So next level spell, Spike Growth can be pretty effective. So we'll roll with that. And again, Long Strider is another choice that you could go with that's also quite effective. But we get it. Difficult terrain will no longer slow us down. And then we get to choose another feat at level 8 here, which will max out our dexterity here for better armor class, initiative, and attack rolls, as obviously. But at level 9, we get another Writhing Current, and we get the Gaseous Form spell, which allows us to transform into small places. Can be somewhat useful in certain areas of the game. And we get to choose level 3 spells. We got Lightning Arrow and Conjure Barrage, which does weapon damage plus additional slashing damage. Both of these are pretty effective, but we're gonna go with Conjure Barrage first. This does require a level 3 spell slot, just a little heads up on that. And at level 10, we get the Hide in Plain Sight, which is quite nice. And we just choose another favorite enemy with Sanctified Stalker, I guess. Sacred Flame is not amazing, but I mean, radiant damage can be sometimes nice to use. And we'll get the Wasteland Wanderer Cold here. Just makes sense. Now at level 11 here, we get our subclass feature, the Mighty Swarm. Your swarm has grown stronger. Its regular attack now deals 1d8 damage. And its special attack now is one additional feature. And teleporting with your swarm increases your armor class for the rest of the round. But it increases it by 2. And we get to choose another spell. So Lightning Arrow. Plant Growth is also quite nice, but we're going to go with Lightning Arrow because this can hit in an area of effect, and the lightning damage is kind of nice. Now level 12 we can go with. The feat we would select is probably Alert, or this will give a +5 to initiative, or an ability score improvement on like Constitution or Wisdom. However, I think that there's a better way to sneak in a little extra with the cleric, who also uses Wisdom, but the War Domain gives us the ability to do additional 3 attacks as a bonus action. So this makes us kind of a little stronger. We like that. So with this, you do get the choice in cantrips here, so you can get some fun ones like Exploding Corpses and Toll the Dead, and the Guidance cantrip, which is kind of nice. And for the spells, you get the Create Water, which can double the damage of the cold or the lightning damage that we deal. Inflict Wounds, and Sanctuary is always nice to have. We do have a decent Wisdom stat, so I mean, we can go with something Command if you really want to have that. And that allows us to use the Mana of the Missing Scoundrel and cast that as a bonus action, which is kind of nice. But what we're going to roll with, you can see here we got the Flurry of Moths around us. So what I would think the best way to go about doing this is, I guess for gear, I'll show you what we'll roll with for gear. So this is the one time where the Circlet of Hunting is actually really good. This gives a +1d4 bonus to attack rolls against targets marked with Hunter's Mark, True Strike, Fairy Fire, and Guiding Bolt. Now, if we got the Gaunter Mail here, this can inflict Guiding Bolt on the target. And if you got the Hellrider Longbow, this can possibly hit with Fairy Fire. These are probably the 2 best bows here because we do get a nice bonus all around, a lot of synergy. The Hellrider Longbow gives a +3 to initiative, and the Gaunter Mail gives us the Celestial Haste and more damage. So the crossbows are also nice too, but we're also going with the Cloak of Protection for increased armor class. The Ballast Armor, which will make targets close to us vulnerable to piercing damage, which means we can deal double damage to them. The Legacy of the Master will give us a +2 attack and damage rolls, which is quite nice. However, the Helldust Gloves will give us a 1d6 in fire damage and additional spell save DC and spell attack rolls. So that is also really nice. You could go with that. It's your choice there. And Gloves of Dexterity can be good for dumping the stat early game. We also got ourselves the Evasive Shoes, and there's also the choice. We do have the Disintegrating Nightwalkers. We're going to have ice surfaces set up. If you got the Lithid ability drain, the Boots of Stormy Clamor can set up reverberation stacks, which you can spread quickly with using an arrow of many targets. But we also got the Fowler Alluve here. This is going to be the best early game weapon until we get the Ballast Armor, and then we're going to go all in on piercing damage, which like the Knife of the Undermountain King can be a good one, which just got upgraded to now work properly. And this can also help when we're hiding in obscure targets, or if we're hiding in obscured areas. This can give us a nice boost or damage, and it's piercing damage, which is quite nice for us. We also got some other choices like the Sword of Life Stealing, which can do additional damage on a critical hit and heal us. I would recommend only going with piercing damage. The Try on the Waves can be nice if we have the because we'll set up water surfaces and we'll create wet on the target. And whenever they get hit with this, the lightning jellyfish can deal double damage to them, which is kind of nice. If you go with the Sharon's version of this, if you go with Evil Shadowheart, you do get the Shar Spear of the Evening, which very effective because we can set up blind. So Knife of the Undermountain King, I'm going to go with the Shar Spear of the Evening. This is just a very powerful weapon to have. And we got ourselves the Amulet of Greater Health for better Constitution, 147's our health. Pillar Sweeter for the free crit, Ring of Protection, and then again the Gaunter Mail. But early game, you go with the bow that you can find. The Titan String is also very effective. This will give us an additional 8 damage on our attacks. So if you don't want to go with the Gaunter Mail, you can go with the Titan String bow. This is still going to be probably the strongest damage output because that strength modifier getting added to it is pretty effective with the strength potion. So I'll show you what this ends up looking like in actual combat here. So starting things off in terms of combat, what we're going to be working with is we want to set up our swarm as much as possible. So we got the Writhing Tide here, so which condenses our mass and lifts us up, gaining a speed of 9 meters. So we can fly around using it, which is pretty nice. However, we also got some pretty good damage, and since we got the armor here, or the weapon from the Shar Spear of the Night, we do get an extra boost to our damage. Now, Conjure Barrage can also be really good, because what we can do with this is set up a bunch of extra piercing damage. And with the Ballast Armor, this can actually be very effective. So we want to set up in terms of making sure that we're able to hit as many targets as possible. So going with the range version of this, we're able to hit 3 targets, which is pretty nice. We can also go with the melee version, which will give us a slight bit more damage, so we're going to roll with that. And of course, we got counterspelled here. That's awesome. Love to see that happen. So obviously not ideal, but we can also drop our Hunter's Mark too. This is where we get a lot of our extra damage from. Now we're going to obviously be targeting this target because they are the one that set the set that counterspell up. We want to reduce that from happening again, so we'll roll with that there. So I guess to ensure that I don't end up missing with this spell, I'm just going to go ahead with just a regular old ranged attack here. And this is going to be able to set up extra damage, which you'll see here. We get the Flurry of Moths, Mighty Teleport. So you can use this to teleport us to a new new area if we wanted to, which is nice because then you can just kind of freely move yourself around the battlefield. It does give you, I guess, the Flurry of Mighty Teleport here, so we can go ahead, teleport our way away, and this will give us a +2 to our armor class, which is nice. Then we can always just reapply our Hunter's Mark here on our next target. So we're gonna go after the next, I guess they're all ranged. There's a target back here I definitely want to hit, but we'll go after this fist here next. And we got the Hunter Mark now applied. Unfortunately, that means we can't use our extra attack from the War Cleric, but that took them out no problem. Ideally, I would have Darkness set up right now, or Fog Cloud from the Ranger spell list to be able to hide out in, because we're going to get hit pretty hard without that. Now, we kept getting wrecked there by command, but with our high wisdom, we're never safe. Now, we can also just go ahead with more ranged attacks here, just because this is where we get a lot of our damage. The Writhing Tide, though, is pretty cool. This does use our bonus action, so you fly around 9 meters distance, and you ignore any type of surfaces. So what this ends up looking like, you just do like a little fly there. I unfortunately just got mine broken. Not the greatest luck. Oddly enough, I can still force myself to attack, so we'll just go with a ranged barrage here, and that finished them off. And we got our extra damage in from our swarm there. So the swarms are cool. They all have a unique appearance. I think the Jellyfish is my absolute favorite one here, but yeah, it's a pretty fun class. Not absolutely broken. Like I think the Gloomstalker Ranger is still better. The Hunter and the Beastmaster are good at level 11, but the Swarmkeeper has its own unique flair, and I think it'll be fun and worthwhile playing for a lot of people. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Hit the subscribe button below if you haven't already, and I'll see you all in the next video.